Hey guys, and welcome to your 2-Minute Money Manager. I'm your host, Stacey Johnson, and this answer is brought to you by MoneyTalksNews.com, serving up the best in personal finance news and advice since back in 1991. Today's question comes to us from Bruce. Bruce says, you should talk more about the FIRE movement. It seems like retiring when you're still young enough to enjoy it is much better than slaving away until you're in your 60s or 70s, isn't it? Well, if you guys aren't familiar with it, let me explain what the FIRE movement is. The philosophy behind the FIRE movement is simple enough. In fact, it's all in the title. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early, F.I.r.e. Financial Independence, Retire Early. So exactly how are you supposed to become financially independent so you can retire early? Well, Investopedia describes the FIRE movement succinctly this way. Here they are. FIRE is a movement dedicated to a program of extreme savings and investment that allows its proponents to retire far earlier than traditional budgets and retirement plans would allow. Okay, there you go. There's your definition. But how does one succeed in a program of extreme saving? Exactly what does that mean? Well, one of the deals behind this philosophy is that what they want you to do is ignore our possession obsession society and focus instead on living a life of simplicity and meaning. In short, FIRE is about saving as much as you can, investing as much as you can at as young of age as possible so you can become financially independent as soon as possible and thus spend as little as possible of your life in a job you don't love. What a concept, right? I wish I'd thought of it. Oh, wait a minute. I did think of it. About when the folks behind the FIRE movement were in elementary school. You see, I'm one of a legion of personal finance writers who've preached financial independence and retiring early since before the FIRE movement was a twinkle in any millennial's eye. It's the foundation of my first book called F.i.r.e, which I wrote nearly 20 years ago. It's also the foundation of a ton of other books that have been written by other people before and since. In fact, think of it this way, guys. I can't prove this, but I'd be willing to bet you that financial independence and retiring early are ideas that were hatched seconds after work was invented. But like so many other radical new ideas, young adults today often conflate packaging and practice because, this is an old idea just with a new label on it. And now it's getting a whole bunch of media attention. For example, the New York Times recently chronicled the achievements of a FIRE adherent called Carl Jensen. He managed to retire at age 43 with $1.3 million in the bank. A quote partially explaining how he did it. Here's a direct quote from the New York Times. A lot of people think you're a new age hippie, said Mr. Jensen, who sold his 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, downsized to a more modest home, and maxed out retirement accounts while following the FIRE program. They can't even wrap their minds around it, he says. Really? Well, maybe Mr. Jensen should wrap his mind around a book called Your Money or Your Life. It basically also promotes downsizing as well as virtually everything else about the FIRE movement. It was first published in 1993. Or how about The Millionaire Next Door, an excellent read, also promoting the FIRE philosophy, which was first published in 1996. I acknowledge both of these books, and my first book, Life or Debt, was just first published in 2002 and also has the same philosophy. So this is something old that's obviously been made new again. Here's another example. The person who's garnered perhaps the most publicity for promoting the FIRE concept would be a guy called Mr. Money Mustache. He's a blogger. He retired at age 30. He now offers ideas and encouragement to other FIRE adherents with his blog. Now, I'm going to quote directly from an article from his blog explaining his philosophy behind the FIRE movement. Here's his quote. The bottom line is this. By focusing on happiness itself, you can lead a much better life than those who focus on convenience, luxury, and following the herd of the financially illiterate that is our TV ad-absorbing middle class in the United States today. Now, just to prove that this has been said before, here's a quote from my book, Life or Debt. See if it sounds familiar. We're like hamsters running on a wheel powered by the billions of dollars of advertising that we've been subjected to all of our lives. It's time right now to get off that treadmill. It's time to decide to stop swapping our lives for meaningless things and start enriching our lives with the things we really crave instead, things that are often free for the taking. Okay, so those things kind of sounded similar, didn't they? Well, here's your bottom line, guys. Mr. Money Mustache and others behind the f.i.r.e movement are finding success by pasting a new label on an ancient concept, which is reprioritizing the present for a more rewarding future. Along the way, they're stirring up controversy and getting media attention by implying that retirement at a super young age is within anyone's grasp. My opinion? Only a fool or a charlatan would suggest that anyone can retire young based simply on fortitude and frugality. Now, that being said, however, here's the main point. I don't hate the f.i.r.e movement. On the contrary, I love the f.i.r.e movement. They're promoting a critical concept for a new generation. Even though it's a concept that's been promoted many times before, I have no problem with people putting this out there because I think it's true. So it's just as simple as this, guys. It's better to be rich later than to look rich now. I said that in my book. The f.i.r.e movement says it too. Even if you won't be retiring before your first child is born, it's still a great lesson. And being frugal and putting money aside for tomorrow is always a great idea. So at the end of the day, Bruce, I say go for it. Follow the f.i.r.e movement. Read my books, read other books. Retire as early as you can. And look for the things in life that make you the happiest. Okay, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you learned something. If you want to know more about today's topic, just visit me at moneytalksnews.com. Just do a search for retirement. You're going to learn a lot more. Now, thanks for spending some time with me today. I know there's a million podcasts out there, and I'm honored that you chose mine. And if you like what you heard, do us both a favor. Subscribe, and then tell your friends to subscribe. Then, please review me. Takes you 1 second, makes my mom proud. Thanks again, folks. I'm Stacy Johnson. I'm going to see you right here next time.